सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. Today's subject is recall the past to revive your future. Recall the past, rest in your presence, revive your future. Recalling the past is technique for cleansing. Resting in present is a technique for living. Reviving your future is technique for creation. Some of the Shastra Pramanas, the scientific researches and data. Xenoglasy. Xenoglasy is the ability to speak or write languages to which a person is not exposed during his lifetime. This is a kind of an art. It's a kind of an energy, extraordinary power. Dr. Maurice Netherton, who does research in this field of xenoglasy, Xenoglossy, xenoglasy, reports a case of a blonde, blue-eyed 11-year-old boy under hypnosis was taped for 11 minutes as he spoke in an ancient Chinese dialect. Ancient Chinese dialect. When the recording was taken to a professor of Oriental Studies at California, it turned out to be a recitation from a forbidden language in ancient China. I only brought one report to you. I am going through some more of some past life memories, experience by a Scottish child. A lot of things are there in the YouTube and on the website. I'm going through. From today onwards, I'll start sharing some of my insights into the second layer past lives. I wanted to remind you all, past from the moment of your birth to till this moment is first layer past living. The past, from the time you started assuming bodies to this moment, is past lives, second layer past. And from the moment of Big Bang till this moment is the third layer past, the happenings. So from today I will start working on the second layer past lives. When I was studying, past life is such a straight, simple, direct fact. Somehow looks too big, too disturbing, too shocking theory to the majority of the Western educated minds. Because unfortunately, the inner scientists happened in those civilizations were not able to dive deep to this depth in the inner science and maintain the purity of research and development to land on these great truths of past lives. What do we mean by the Brahminical religion? Means the pure scientists, the inner scientists, who retained the purity of the research and development, who retained the purpose of research and development, who were honest and integrated to the purpose of research and development, who put the research and development in the inner science as the first priority. I define this group as Brahmins. I define these people as Brahmins. Based on this definition, we are Brahminical religion, where we retained the honest strength and purity of the inner R&D, inner world research and development. See, any small child in India, at least 20 years before, any small child in India knows about the concept of rebirth. Simply it knows, even if the small boy does something to him in the school, even among the kids fighting, I have seen the kids will say, if you do all this, you will suffer this karma in next janma. You will suffer for it in the next janma. Even the kids understand these great truths are in our very air. Feel blessed if you are born and brought up in Indian village. You do not know how many thousands of good things have already gone into your system without even you being aware. Only when I was studying these happenings and researches about past life, they are not that big, simple revelations, but they receive so much of attention in the Western world, Western scientists. See, just one small boy is remembering about his previous incarnation and is remembering previous birth, and he is remembering the place where he lived. Immediately a huge researcher from a huge university, big university, rushes to him and takes notes and types and records everything and runs behind him and verifies everything. In our Indian village, it's a everyday happening. I know hundreds of people who talk about their past life and clearly define not only just their name, husband, relationship and birthmarks, everything they define clearly. And we just take that person and verify and forget about it. Not only these great references and cross verifications and proofs, even the concept is our lifestyle. It's our lifestyle. I have seen in villages, when a child takes birth, the grandmother will see the body marks and tell, oh, is your grandfather's rebirth. Or is that third house guy was there, is rebirth. They'll just like that name it. I've seen. And when the child grows, he will exactly remember all that and tell. See, I wanted you to understand few things. First thing, because of the purity of the Brahminical tradition, so much of R&D was done and these concepts are in our air. To understand about past life, when I say understand, how much of knowledge a Indian village boy has, you may need to do PhD in some Western university. Really. Because these great truths are already in our air. As simple basic understandings about karma, reincarnation, past life, next life, all these things. I've seen in the Indian villages, on every Mahalaya Amavasya, they'll offer the Shraddha, the Pinda, He'll offer the rice and sesame seed and all that. If there is no crow is coming to eat that food, they will say, oh, he has already taken the next birth. He has already taken the next birth for whom it is offered. See, it is such a simple thing, but even those people have the clear idea about past birth and future lives. It is just because the purity of the Brahminical tradition. I want you to understand. People ask me again and again, Swamiji, do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe in past birth and future lives? I tell them, no, I don't believe. I just know. Past life exists and future lives exist. I just know. It's a simple truth. Understand? Just because you don't want to handle, if you just try to forget, no, before 30 years I did not exist. Before 20 years I did not exist. If, for example, your age is 50 and you don't want to remember the age where you are just running around doing all silly things which you feel as silly now. See, when you are 18, you feel silly for playing with the small toys and playing with the small kids. When you are 35, you feel silly for playing with small girls, playing or fighting with your sisters or brothers or your friends. See, feeling silly is okay. Just because you feel silly, you try to deny it, is not going to help. Same way, many of the things which you did in your past birth, now if you remember, you may feel silly. Why did I do that? What foolish thing I did? Because you would have killed somebody or got killed just for the sake of few thousand rupee, which is not useful for you now. Because that few thousand rupee is not useful anyway in this birth. So now it feels too silly. Oh God, I went through such big suffering just for that small foolish thing. Looks silly. But just because it is silly, you cannot deny it. It existed. Understand? It existed. Now undo and raise your awareness based on that and see that your future is intelligent. That is what is supposed to be done. But denying is not going to help. Most of us are in denial mode. And unfortunately, this is the right word, not fortunately, unfortunately, your brain is also designed by you to forget the things which you don't want to remember, which you feel silly again and again. Understand? People suffer with Alzheimer's just because they try to forget too many things because they feel it is silly. That's one of the reasons why Alzheimer's happens to you, happens to human beings. They feel they have done too many silly things and now they want to forget everything. What's the only way? Alzheimer's. Every human being suffers with Alzheimer's as far as related to the second layer, past concern, past life. If it becomes too much, you start using that Alzheimer's technique even for the past living, first layer past, it's Alzheimer's disease. I tell you, feeling silly is different. Completely denying is different. Just because feeling silly, don't try to deny it. We had past, we have present, we will have future. I want everyone to understand the first truth, the uniqueness of the Ganges civilization, the Saraswati civilization, the Sindhu civilization, Indus civilization, the unique, great contribution of that civilization to the planet Earth and the intelligence of the planet Earth, the depth of the inner science of the planet Earth is the truth about the past life to design your future lives. This is one of the greatest unique contribution. So today I wanted to drive this one point to all of you. Past life exists, present life exists, future life exists. One more thing, I don't even want to say past existed, present exists, future will be existing. No. The truth is, the whole thing is shining on one screen. So past, present, future exists. The whole thing is actually one screen. Just because your eye can see only one level, the shift of the, see for example, here is a huge painting, 200 feet length, but your eye can cover only 20 feet length. So you are seeing step by step, inch by inch, second by second. That is why you call past, present, future. But the whole drawing does not have something like existed, existing, will be existing. No. Understand, here is a 200 feet canvas on which the huge painting is there. Which you are seeing you call as past, which you will be seeing few seconds later you call it as a future, which you saw you call it as a past. But in reality, as far as the drawing is concerned, the painting is concerned, that life is concerned, the time is concerned, there is no past, present, future. Understand? The canvas is the time, the painting is happenings. Because you can see only 20 feet, you can remember only 20 feet, you can recollect only 20 feet, you feel this 20 feet is present. The few hundred feet which I saw few minutes before is past. The few hundred feet which I am going to see now in future is future. No. For your understanding, you classify them that way. As far as the time is concerned, it is just exists, that's all. Not even present, future, past, not even present. Because the moment you bring present, automatically the existence of past and future starts happening. This is the example. Understand this example, then you will understand. 200 feet, one single canvas painting is in front of you. Naturally you can't see it at a time. So what you do? Few feet which you saw, you call it as past. Few which you are seeing, you call it as present. Few which you are going to be seeing, you call it as future. But actually in the painting itself, is there anything called past, present, future? No. So past, present, future exists. Then lot of questions raise. Oh. Then what is future? Is it already predetermined? Or it's created by us? If it is predetermined, then why all this practice? If it can be changed, then how can it already exist? Let me give you the example. Here is a huge 200 feet canvas. There is a painting of a big forest. The scene starts from some fish, tortoise, snakes, crocodile, and then the next paintings are elephant, pig, lion, then different bigger animals and dinosaurs. Like this huge painting exists. Now You saw few things in the past. Means few feet you already saw. That's what we call past. Few feet which you are seeing. That's what we call present. Few feet which you are going to see. That's what is future. Please understand. The few painting which you saw in the past, if it, for example, you saw few animals. If you reacted to that with fear, that fear is going to be more when you see the future paintings. If you reacted to that as a intelligent knowledge collection, oh, snakes look like that, crocodile looks like that, or fish looks like that. So naturally, when you are going to see the future animals, it is going to be intelligence based. Or when you saw the past, if it was greed based, wow, this body looks really pretty. How pretty the snake looks. If it is greed based connection, then it is going to be again the future, these animals, it is going to be greed based connection. Wow, what a tall dinosaur. Please understand. The painting itself is eternal, is not going to be changed. But your perception, reaction, action, feeling, experience of that painting is going to be completely different. That is why I say future is neither destined nor completely free. See now, understand this huge painting. So how you reacted to the past, that's the way you are going to react to the future. Or you have the freedom. At present moment you can stop. Hey, why I reacted the way I reacted. Now I have the freedom to shift the understanding or the way I react so that the future reactions will become different. You have that freedom. That is why sadhana. Please understand. I am not saying future can be changed because the canvas and painting cannot be changed. I am not saying no need for sadhana. No. You have freedom to change some things. For that, do sadhana. And same way, understand future cannot be changed. This one example of this huge canvas and painting will make you completely understand. Bring all your questions and fit with this one example. You will completely understand the past, present and future. Understand the future. It is neither changeable. That does not mean you don't need to do anything. Your perception and experience about the future is changeable. See, one of the biggest problem we face is why the shift does not happen is the experience you learned from the past, you do not allow that to penetrate and go and hit your very root or your very existence. You have a lot of these buffers, buffer springs. See, for example, in the past, you saw some animals. If it was completely greed, your reaction, allow that greed to go and hit your consciousness. If it is fear, allow that fear to go and hit your consciousness. We do not. The buffer spring is what I call samskaras. See, if that snake creates complete greed in you, You will go and try to jump on it and you will realize your greed is useless because that snake is not responding to you. If that snake creates complete fear in you, then allow that fear to penetrate and completely be shaken. Suddenly in few minutes you will realize that snake is not responding to your fear. It's useless. Anything, if you allow that to hit you, you will realize it is useless. The cognitive shift is possible. But the samskaras which creates hypocrisy is responsible for the cognitive shift not happening. Not letting the fear or greed or any reaction of the past to hit your consciousness purely is hypocrisy. Whether fear or greed, let it hit you purely, your consciousness. You will just learn, oh God, that's all. Okay. You will experience the space where nothing can touch you. The cognitive shift happens in you. There is a beautiful song by the Siddhas. If you, that song, one translation says, if you boil the copper with these herbs and process it this many days in this way, it will become gold. The same line, if you read it once more without breaking the words, it means if you boil yourself with the pure fear and pure greed and look at the incidents and situations of the life as it is for this many number of times, you will become gold, siddha, boiled, enlightened. Boiling your being with a direct fear or direct greed awakened in you without letting the engrams to come in between itself will make the cognitive shift in you. You will realize the future is not changeable, but future is changeable. Future is not changeable, your future is changeable. Future itself is not changeable, but your future is changeable. That is why we need sadhana. That is why we need sadhana. So many questions related to past, present, future can be solved. Just this one revelation. Understand? This huge canvas theory. I can say this is one of the mantra, Upanishad revealed by me. Any question you have about past, present, future, past lives, present and future, apply with this one mantra. See, mantra drashta is Rishi. Mantra drashta means who sees mantra, means who sees some visualization which will liberate human beings from the great problems is mantra. Today I saw this visualization which can liberate humanity from thousands of doubts and questions related to this past, present, future. This is the mantra I reveal it to humanity today. You can use this one mantra properly, visually, understand and internalize and present it to the world. Millions of questions, doubts, problems people have about the past life, present life, future life will be solved just by this one mantra. Large canvas painting theory. Internalize this one mantra today. There are some more scientific researches I have. Dr. Ian Stevenson, psychiatrist and a paranormal investigator, in his book Where Reincarnation and Biology Intersect, writes, birthmarks or other psychological manifestations have been found to relate to experiences of past lives, particularly violent death. But I can tell you, not only violent death, this scientist is able to work only in that line of violent death, because he sees only the grass people who made to take rebirth. See, if you are made to take rebirth by force, the strong memories you will bring in this new birth is the fear you suffered in the last birth. The strong incidents like a birth, death, those things only you will bring. See, if the rebirth is forced on you, you will bring birthmarks related to violent death, suffering, because those are the strongest memory in you. Only those things will come to you, because the whole process is happening in a grass level. But if the reincarnation is out of a breeze romance, come on, let's go down. Then what kind of birthmarks you will pick up? Romantic birthmarks. The birthmarks related to a beautiful memory, the beautiful scene, the graceful incidents. Because, see, before taking birth, you will pick up those biomemories. When you make the body, wow, this is an amazing incident. Come on, let us have birthmark related to that incident. Same way the Srivatsa of Venkateshwara, that's also, it's a boon given to Lakshmi in a deep romantic mood by Venkateshwara, that you will always be in this spot, you will always reside there. So understand, I just wanted to add to his understanding. His understanding is right. As far as the Dr. Ian Stevenson's understanding is right, as far as the specimens with whom he worked, see, he worked with the normal people on whom the rebirth is forced. So naturally only the strong birthmarks related to strong experience only they will be carrying. But I tell you, there is a different level of rebirth, where out of freedom they reincarnate. Those people do not bring on any birthmarks related to strong things like a violent death and all. First of all, they will not be having anything like that. Second thing, they bring birthmarks related to love, compassion, romance, joy. Those breezy incidents, birthmarks are brought. So let this understanding be added to his revelation. Dr. John Archibald Wheeler, a Princeton physicist, says, memories of past lives come from a universal memory source that lies outside the human body. New scientific studies of quantum holography suggest that human body is a hologram within holographic universe. The DNA of each cell of our body is a hologram that has information about human body and universe. Every man is therefore capable of accessing intelligence from all information fields in universe. Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha. We have freedom, intelligence, capability and energy to access any information from the cosmic information field Hiranyagarbha. How to? We'll see tomorrow. Let you all achieve and radiate enlightenment. Let you all achieve, live, experience, express, radiate the eternal bliss. Nityananda. Thank you.
Dream